Mario Kart World is now version 1.2.0. But what does that mean? The number one change that everyone had complained about in the past and now looks like it's being addressed is actually a bunch of nothing, and there's one little patch note that has completely changed the underlying mechanics of Mario Kart World. This is just classic Nintendo patch notes not making sense. So today I'll explain to you exactly what's happening and what has changed. After a month, Nintendo finally released a new update on Mario Kart World, July 29th, 2025. This was a long-awaited update and actually addresses a lot of the players' concerns. So if you scroll down to the bottom of the first section right here, increase the frequency of lap-type courses appearing in the selection when choosing the next course in versus race and wireless races. We complained, and it worked! But did it? So for those of you who don't know, a month ago on June 25th, Nintendo made this change. Adjusted courses selected in random when selecting next course in an online race. Now, when you go play regular online versus races in the race mode, in the track selection, you usually have 3 intermission tracks, and this means you play from one track to another instead of driving 3 laps around a track. And there's also the random option. Now, sometimes it would be 2 intermission tracks and a regular 3-lap track would show up, and you can pick that and you'll just play 3 laps of that one. However, most of the time, if you wanted to play a regular track online, you would have to pick random. Because for some reason, random would always give a regular track, so you'd have lobbies full of people picking random. And then when Nintendo dropped this update, they changed how random works. Instead of giving you any of the 30 regular tracks, almost always just gives you something that was already on the select screen, which means usually it gives you an intermission track again. And for a lot of people, this one change completely killed online worldwides, and that's why we have something like the Mario Kart World Discord, where people play in friend lobbies where you can press plus to change to a different track and you can pick any track you want, and that's how we've been playing the regular tracks. Nothing against the concept of intermission tracks, they were just not executed well and a lot of people don't like them. So now they've increased the frequency of lap type courses appearing in the selection, which means now the lap type course more often will show up in the selection. So if you want to play regular tracks, you can just pick these when they show up, which means online worldwides are saved if it were any other company making these patch notes other than Nintendo. I hate when I have to point this out, but there is a lot of misinformation from more casual Mario Kart creators and just going around the internet in general from everyone saying that Nintendo fixed this. No, they didn't! Your online worldwide experience is going to be almost exactly the same before and after this patch. Lots of people have tried, I've tried myself, I have a video coming out soon if you want to watch me play a whole bunch of intermission tracks as I discover horrifyingly that this is still the case and online worldwides are still not very fun for me. At least not nearly as fun as playing the regular tracks in competitive or in Discord lobbies. We'll get to the other patch notes here. There are some other important things I want to address, but just looking at this one, please, 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 not just for Nintendo games, please never look at a vague patch note and think you know what that means. And especially not from Nintendo, because increase the frequency, maybe they increase the frequency from like 10% to 30%, I don't know. And I hate the amount of misinformation going around of people thinking that this has actually fixed anything at all. The frequency of playing regular tracks online has not increased to the point where I think this makes a big difference for nearly anybody. If you want to play intermissions, you go play online worldwide, and if you want to play regular tracks, you don't play online worldwide. And that's still exactly how it's going to be. There's still that divide. And Nintendo has still not given us an option to play mostly regular tracks online. And this is exactly the same as in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe when the Wave 6 DLC came out and they made a change to bagging. Yes, it nerfed bagging, but people literally thought that bagging got patched out of the game, when in reality it nerfed bagging by like 5% and it made almost no difference to online play. And this was misinformation that I was putting up with for the entire rest of the life of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So please, if anyone tells you that Nintendo has listened to the feedback and changed their online worldwides because of this one sentence, please inform them that pretty much nothing has changed. playing online worldwide is still just a bunch of intermissions. If you like it, go play it. Just don't go listen to what one person said about it based on one sentence in a vague patch note and then spread lies about it. All right, next up, we're going to take a look at some of the other patch notes because there are actually some really, really important things. So, well, first of all, we have, you can now change the rules of versus races to have no computers, and you can have mushrooms only. You can do those at the same time in single player, which means you can actually just play alone. You're always in first place, and you always pull triple mushrooms. I mean, technically, you're also in last place, but, like, what's the point of this? It seems like this is a replacement for free roam if you just want to practice mushroom shortcuts, because you get more mushrooms than in free roam, and the really nice thing about this is that it doesn't have the free roam layout, where some things on the track are slightly changed in free roam, and instead you could just drive around with a bunch of mushrooms and practice more shortcuts than you otherwise would in time trials. Because in time trials, you only get 3 mushrooms the whole race, whereas here you can get you could probably get like 45 mushrooms per race. So yeah, it's cool for practice, but not that important. And now you can choose to view replay after downloading a ghost data in time trials. Wow, finally just a little itsy bitsy tidbit of quality of life improvement for us in time trials. Man, Nintendo hates time trials in Mario Kart World. So yeah, you can, after you download a ghost, you can now view replay. You can also race against that ghost right from that menu. Great, you saved me 2 clicks, Nintendo. Thank you so much. But hey, how about this? How about instead of just showing me the name and the sticker of the person who did the time trial, show me like a flag and a me so I actually know who it is in case they're using a different name at that time, and also show me the lap splits. Show me how long lap 1, 2, and 3 took. Because right now the only way to know is to watch the whole thing and do some calculations. I cannot think of one reason why this wouldn't be here. Like, if you want to simplify the UI for casual players, this is time trials. Casual players don't play time trials. Or if they do, they don't mind seeing the lap times. I just don't get it. We got the least desired quality of life improvements. Thanks, Nintendo. Okay, you can now choose whom to watch when spectating in Knockout Tour and Balloon Battle. This is one thing I noticed, by the way, about these particular patch notes. They don't sound the same as other ones. It's actually better and more, I don't know, elaborate English than usual patch notes that seem very translated and simple English, which almost makes me think that they know what they're doing with these patch notes, but they really don't. There were a lot of fixes, but you'll see what I'm talking about. You can now see the waiting time until the next race or battle starts in online play. That is a really cool quality of life improvement. And yeah, this is something a lot of people wanted, so great job, Nintendo. That should have been there in the first place, but great job. Okay, now, some of these I will be skipping over. You can read them if you want. I just don't think they are that important to gameplay, but made computer players weaker in everything other than battle. That is very interesting. I have noticed that the computer players are pretty good in this game, but I feel like with practice, you should be able to beat them. How much? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Made homing of boomerang weaker. Okay, this patch note blew my mind because, wait, homing? What does that mean? Does the boomerang target people? Is that why I get hit so much by the boomerang? I played a bit online. I didn't really notice any differences with the boomerang, and this patch note is surprising to me in the first place. I wonder if that's the wrong word, if that was a translation, but yeah, let me know in the comments if you know what this means. Decrease the probability of getting triple mushrooms in a low position, other than with frantic items. Now, I played a bit, and this doesn't really seem true. I wonder how much they changed it. Because as for my strategy when I play, I feel like it makes no difference at all. But this is interesting. Changed it so order, I think probability, of getting question block, which is the coin block, is higher than in the past. Very interesting. I think that it's hard for players at the front to get a lot of coins, and you can now get the coin block in first place, which I'm not sure if that's a buff or a nerf to first place. Second doesn't pull a lot of red shells, so the fact that the coin block is not protection, I think is actually fine. I suspect that getting a coin block in first is actually really good. And then, of course, increase the frequency of lap-type courses appearing in the selection. This still makes me mad because I'm, based on previous patch notes, I know exactly what they're doing here. Nintendo is too smart to not be doing this right now because this has generated so much anger and discussion and disagreements because nobody will just go online and play 20 races and just measure how much things are happening and talk to people about how often these things are actually showing up. Because if you read the patch note, you're like, oh, Nintendo saved online. No, this is not even close to doing like anything. I figured I'd include this early and late in the video just so that you don't miss it. Okay, now fixed issues. These seem like they're pretty much just little glitches. This one's interesting. Fix an issue where vehicle would stay floating in air when jumping off a half pipe. That, I feel like they're talking about that glitch where you just fly into the air and free roam, right? Like, why fix that? Glad you're focusing your energy on that. Now, these are actually gameplay fixes, like the bullet bill not going out of bounds, and then like boost panels not working. Now, here was a really interesting one. I mean, you can read these if you want, but one thing that I thought was so interesting, because I actually encountered it myself once. Where is it? It's on Wario Shipyard. Yeah. Fix an issue where some of the item boxes would not have appeared in Wario Shipyard. I don't know if I have a recording of this, but basically the second item box, the one in the water, just wasn't there during one of my races. I was just chilling, playing with Rod online, and then that happened. And I remember thinking I was having a stroke, because I was like, wait, why am I not seeing it? But the other items were still showing up, so I still grabbed items. It was just so weird, and I can't believe a glitch like that can even happen. Okay, now saving the best for last, this is the #1 most important patch note. Several other issues have been addressed to improve the gameplay experience. This is hiding the most important change that this patch has made. It is completely game-changing, and pretty much every single time trial world record is now going to be destroyed because of this one patch note. So what's happening here? Now, because it's so vague, we obviously don't know the extent of everything that has been changed, but one thing that has been changed for sure is the way that trick boosts work. Now, trick boosts are pretty simple. You do a trick and that makes you land in a speed boost. But the way that they worked was a little bit nuanced, because it doesn't accelerate you very fast and you have to stay on the ground in order to gain that speed boost. If you left the ground right away, you would no longer be able to accelerate. But now, even if you leave the ground, you still get the speed boost. And so we have examples now like the Bowser's Castle rail gap jump shortcut. Before, you always wanted to land past the little wall, because then you land on the ground and you get the full trick boost. But if you landed on the wall, then it would slow you down a lot. Now, if you land on the wall, you still get all the speed right away, which means that this shortcut is even faster than it was before if you're not doing it optimally. And there are also tracks where you may have noticed that when you land in your trick boost, it's really slow for a moment for some reason. And my theory is you get a little bit of an air pocket there that is completely unavoidable, and that's why you slow down a little bit. But now, on tracks like Rainbow Road that has several of these, you can just gain time. Like, I'm literally racing against the old world record from before this patch, and I just gain time for free because trick boosts don't work the same anymore. And this happens multiple times on Rainbow Road. There are a lot of trick ramps here, so like, the world record now has been completely destroyed. This is also true on Wario Stadium. I mean, watch this. This is me against the world record from a few weeks ago. And isn't this just completely insane? I can off-screen the old world record without doing a single thing differently. And this is because especially when you land in a trick boost on an uphill section, I think it's the same thing for Rainbow Road actually, you wouldn't get the speed right away. But now you do get the speed right away. And you may have known from a previous video I've made about the Dino Jungle world record. Hate to keep bringing it up. Just kidding, love to keep bringing it up. But there was this strategy that they used that wasn't very fast because of the way you land on an uphill after a trick boost and immediately trick again, giving you no time to speed up. Well, I didn't race it against a ghost because I don't think this is the fastest way to do the section anyway now, but now it looks a lot faster than it did before. You don't lose all of that speed. But that is not all, because let's go back to Bowser's Castle. I don't know what exactly is going on here. Probably trick boosts are also accelerating you faster on walls, but when you go for this version of the shortcut at the start of Bowser's Castle, it is now easier. I never practiced this thing, and I would make it like 10 or 20% of the time. Now I make it more than 50% of the time. And with some practice, I suspect that number is going to go way higher. And yeah, it's not 100% of the time like I make the rail version of it, but the rail version, you can't always take it because you need a charge jump, then you need everything to go well. You cannot get bumped, you cannot get hit. And I actually played a race after the patch where somebody in front of me had triple red shells and I knew they were going to back on the rail, and they did back on the rail, but it's okay because I just avoided the rail and took the bottom version of the shortcut, and it's literally faster. I wouldn't want to risk it usually, but in this case I have to, and it just worked out. In fact, I just played a random combo spike on the Ribbit Revster just to test this, and for the first time, like it took me less than 10 minutes, and then for the first time ever, I nailed this version of the shortcut 3 for 3 times and got the wall ride shortcut later in the track 3 for 3 times for a total of 6 for 6, and it just randomly broke my best record on Bowser's Castle. Because I would never go for the fast version of the early shortcut before, but then the wall shortcut too. Yeah, there's more. This wall shortcut is the same thing. Like, because you need to accelerate with the trick boost on this wall, it's actually more consistent now. Like in my shortcut guide, that shortcut guide is mostly good. It is outdated in some things, but now somehow Nintendo managed to make this wall shortcut thing outdated too. Like, it's just so much easier now. I'm not going to say it's an easy shortcut, but it should be one that most players with practice should get 100% consistent now, because you don't need to stay on the wall as long to finish accelerating from the trick boost. You just go really fast, and like I make it every time now. And as of recording this video, it's been 1 day since this patch came out, and I've been moving from one apartment to another and not really able to record or play much, but I had to get something out about this, so there's going to be a lot of stuff that I don't even know about yet, so stay tuned for more discoveries and expect the time trial world records to improve by a lot. And we can definitely see some new strategies being used online thanks to these changes. I think it's really strange that Nintendo waited almost 2 months to change such an obvious thing about this game, which is that trick boosts don't quite accelerate you fast enough. You'd think if they wanted to fix this, they would have caught it in playtesting, because it's pretty obvious. Like, I noticed it the first day that I played, and I have proof. I literally told you in the Dino Jungle World Record video that, like, I discovered this and therefore I made a new strategy that made I only got the world record because I noticed this the literal first day that I played this game. And so you'd think if they wanted to fix this, they would have caught it in playtesting and then just fixed it. But instead they waited 2 months for everyone to get really good at the time trials and then fixed it. So now all the time trial records are obsoleted. And it's like fine, it's only been 2 months of the game coming out, it's not a big deal, they weren't like super duper optimized anyway, but I don't know, like when patches like these drop, it can kind of make people lose confidence in like how much do they want to grind a track, because maybe some other patch will come. I mean, that's actually what happened in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, except that one happened over 10 years into the game coming out, which is actually really rude from Nintendo. But overall, like that aside, I like this change because it makes some of the really annoying strategies a lot easier, and it just makes the driving feel a lot better too. So let me know what you think about this patch, and please spread the word that the intermission problem online has not been fixed, not even close. And if you ask me, hey, is the online worldwides closer to being fixed or closer to having nothing changed? I would say it's closer to nothing changed. I'm still not really going to play it.